Hey Blue Table fans, we're taking a look today at a set of miniatures that's a 3D print called Scourgelands Survivors. It consists of 10 models, this monster, and this little terrain piece here. First off, I love these. I was looking at them for a while, finally picked them up. They were super inexpensive. The resin that they're made from is really hard. It has some slight bendiness, which is nice. It keeps it from snapping. It's way lighter than metal, but it is a little heavier than plastic, so basically perfect. The only thing is that if you wanted to modify them, it would be really difficult to drill and cut them. They're definitely very solid. All right. Also, they come with a main body. The two hands are separate typically, and the base is separate as well. As you can tell, they all have custom bases, which are really nicely done. They were a joy to paint. These things were a joy to assemble as well. It was very simple. Excuse me. If you hear me clearing my throat, it's because there's a lot of pollution in Salt Lake right now. Anyway, so first off, there's this leader guy, and this is the first one I painted. I didn't know how I wanted to do this carapace armor, which is obviously derived from these creatures somehow. So I don't know what the story is there. I was going to go with a dark blue. This is dark blue highlighted with ivory, a green shield. I tried to make it as organic as I could while still retaining some brightness, and this brick reddish type of cloak. And I love this model, but the blue just really didn't speak to me. So I went ahead and tried this second figure in khaki. I liked it. I kept her that way. I thought it would work. Maybe she's wearing a different type of armor. But this also didn't speak to me. It wasn't quite right. And so I ended up doing this figure, was the third figure. And this olive yellow Vallejo was absolutely perfect. Highlighted with khaki, which is a greenish ivory color, really turned out perfect. All their blades and weapons and stuff, they are of the same type and make as the talons from this creature. So there's definitely a little narrative there. I love these articulated bug helmets. There's two guys that are like that. They have goggles on, which is just absolutely perfect. I just love them. No kidding. Two ranged guys. I view this guy more as the leader of the clan than the first guy that I showed you. And then there's an archer. Their faces are done by my son. If you saw my earlier video, I didn't really like the faces, how I had done them. And he always does such an amazing job. He put a little bit of war paint on them, and they look really good. There's this sorceress, my least favorite model. I just painted her up as quick as humanly possible. By the way, this archer has a quiver, also made of sort of this bug carapace, and it's just really cool. Here are the last two, this two-handed warrior and this, I don't know, druidess, I guess. And I actually did her, I'm going to call it a bikini, a couple of different colors. I did it like a very light green color. That seemed a little contrived. I find a black, that was a little too dark. And then finally I settled on this London gray. So all these figures, I really love them. I can't wait to do something with them. They're actually for Valhalla. So I'm building terrain to go along with this. Then there's this battle prawn, they call it, and it's a really cool figure, comes on a custom base. My only little very small nitpick is they made the base irregular, which is fine, but it would have been slightly better to have made it perfectly round. But of course nobody's going to notice that, and this has a lot and this has a lot of really great features on it. The bases have many layers. It's black, dark gray, and then London gray on top of that. And then I have charred brown and whole red as sort of these low lights to break up all that gray. And of course, a little bit of tuft foliage, which I think is a nice feature. And then they give you this little larva creature, and he's pretty cool. And this terrain, like bug nest entrance thing, which is really super cool. I worked in some greens on there. This has about 5 layers. All these guys have 5 to 7 layers over almost all parts of their body. I also worked in this jade color, which is Vallejo emerald green, and I think that gives them just a little bit of color. They have jade necklaces, a little bit of color to make them stand out. Long story short, totally pleased. They look really beautiful. I'm just absolutely stoked, and I can't wait to add more sets to my collection and do a really cool event at Valhalla for Dungeons and Dragons, and also for events that I may be putting on, which would be really fantastic. That's my dream, is to do Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy role-playing in general to the highest standard that they can possibly be done. All right, thanks for tuning in, and I know you got your inspiration for the day.